Gavin of Judy and Gavin Photography. They are a married couple. Love that. We will delve into that a little bit later. But the reason I asked you guys here is because I'm really curious, for bride's sake, it's really important to make sure you have the right person taking the pictures and doing the videography, because that's what's with you for years and years. And so can you walk us through some steps to even pick one? Because that can be a scary process. There's so many photographers out there.
So for me, I think it's most important that you like the photographer's style is always a start, you know. And speaking of styles, for us, there's two types of styles: a natural light photographer and a strobe. Remote camera, remote lighting photographer. And
what does that mean for someone who knows remote light? What does that mean for someone who knows nothing?
Natural light is when you just take pictures with the beautiful light of using the sun.
It's what you do with your cell phone, naturally.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
great.
And then a remote lighting photographer is when you use a flash that's on camera or off camera. For us, we usually use it off camera, and we have a what do you call those things?
It's okay.
So it's basically studio. One is like
Yes.
studio to just natural, how it is.
Right.
Except we bring the studio lighting on location.
Nice. And that's very different. I mean, that look is very different. So how does one figure out what they like? Because that makes sense to me, but if I'm looking at pictures, is it obvious to tell?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Oh,
do
yeah.
your research. It's something where you can go on Instagram, Pinterest, obviously social media, and you find out what you like. From there, though, don't get too inundated. You know, there's a lot of stuff out there. You want to start narrowing it down. So what would you say? Narrow it down to about...
I'd say about 5 photographers where you kind of like their styles and whatnot, and then from there I'd probably meet with 3 to see if you can click with your photographer, because that's another thing, is you want to make sure you click with your photographer. We as professionals are there with you all day.
All day.
You're stuck with us all
And
day.
so you want to make sure we get along. You want to make sure, you know, we can talk about things that would make you laugh, so that way those pictures can come naturally to you.
That's so true, because I mean, by the time I see them at the wedding, you've been with them all day long.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so you're really there, especially for those moments where maybe they're nervous and they need a warm face or someone to.
Yeah.
And that's scary too, I think, because sometimes people are nervous about the camera. And so if they know the person behind the camera is a friend, then it helps most definitely.
And
Well, we like to say the most important thing to being photogenic is comfort in front of the camera.
Oh,
definitely.
So professional models will think of the camera as a good friend. From there, if you guys like us, then that means that we get better photos.
right. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
And then I usually work very closely with the couple to suggest a photographic timeline for them. So that way they know how much time is needed for the preparation, how much time is needed for, you know, family photos and the bride and groom pictures and whatnot. So I usually help them make that, and then we pass it on to a coordinator, of course. And then from there, the coordinator looks it through and see if it's good or not, and then she puts it into her master timeline.
So it's funny you bring that up, because I think that sometimes we see all these amazing pictures of our friends' weddings and we don't realize that takes a lot of time to actually do. So you typically take brides and grooms out of the ceremony, or the reception,
Yes,
correct?
at nighttime for photos. So we specialize in low light photography. So we love taking pictures during the nighttime, because I feel like that's when our subjects pop the most, because we just use lighting to light them up, or just use ambient light.
It allows us to be a lot more creative.
What I love about that too is that you are only in that dress for one day. You only have that tux around it or for one day, and so it's awesome that you get a daytime and nighttime photos in that dress and in that moment, which is fantastic. So what do you guys find is the most surprising thing for brides as they're going through the whole process?
Actually, one thing that's kind of surprising is some of them are really surprised how easy and fun it is. We try to be a little more lighthearted. We take it easy on our couples. You can drink too if you want. and we want to have fun with it. And that way it doesn't feel like a production. They're amateur models, and we treat them like that because, like, you know, you don't want to be too hard on them. But more importantly, it becomes fun. And then when we do the wedding day, oh my gosh, it just flows, especially since they're so distracted and having so much fun with family.
And I think the best thing about booking a photographer is having an engagement session with that photographer as well, because having an engagement session is like a trial run for them. You know, they get to know us as a couple, and we get to know them as a couple. So that way on the wedding day, it's like, oh yeah, just ignore Judy and Gavin. They'll get the picture.
Well, it
You know?
develops comfort and trust.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Those are really important things.
So you recommend using the same photographer for both.
Oh yeah, definitely,
yeah,
for your
definitely.
engagement session.
That's why we include one for free with most of our packages also.
Nice. And now, how do you feel about Pinterest?
Ooh, Pinterest. I have a love-hate relationship for Pinterest.
Ditto.
It's got a lot of awesome creative ideas. The only thing I would say to my bride is you have to take it with a grain of salt, right? You have to know that those pictures are done with 10 different couples on 10 different days. So I have to kind of pull them back into reality, you know, so to speak. You can't expect us to duplicate that picture because every couple is different. The lighting's different.
Now, what we do love
The
about
weather's
it,
different.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
oh yeah.
sometimes you just get that moment, something that's special that happens. But the thing we love about it is it does show us what their tastes are. It shows us what they like, and it guides us in the right direction. So maybe it's not necessarily like, oh, here's your pin board. Let's do every single image the exact same way. No, but we can try to make something in that style. And
And then we build from that and create more to it.
See, I
So we
like
add a little
that.
more to it.
I like that because I feel like there's so much pressure these days to get that. Oh, that was a great shot at
Oh,
that
yeah.
one location. We all have to get that same shot, but then it all
you
sorts
got to
of
get that Instagram right.
Exactly. Got to get the gram. Do it for the gram.
Oh, gosh.
But it's nice that you make it so that it's creative and it's theirs.
Yep.
So it's their own experience.
Exactly.
And that's one thing about our photography is we try to make everything unique to the couple. If they have something unique to bring to the table, we totally try to show that.
And that's why we're so open to different types of ideas that they have. Like, for example, Gavin specializes in astrophotography.
Oh, yes.
So
Astrophotography?
astrophotography.
I'll shoot with like the Milky Way in the background.
Yes.
So,
Wow.
and it's real. It's not photoshopped. It's actually legit. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes. So we always encourage our couples to do something extraordinary, do something that's out there that hasn't been done. We're down for that. Gavin's shot underwater, so he has pictures of couples that are, you know, actually me,
Yeah, well,
me too.
yeah, me
Our
too, yes.
maternity photos
Yeah.
are underwater. So I love things that are different. So and I want that for all of my couples. I want to have something different for them, so that way they have something to remember that's not always the same as everyone else's.
And I have to say, you guys do go the extra mile. You'll run around a bride and groom if need be to get the sparkler
Yes.
shot.
And we shoot in the rain. It doesn't matter.
You make it happen. No, but one of the things I think is great about you is that you are a married couple. So tell me, how did you guys have that happen? I mean, that's not, you're the only ones I know who
Well,
are
I
married
asked
and doing
and
this
she
stuff.
said I do.
Oh, is that
Well, we studied something completely different.
Did you?
She was supposed to be a pharmacist.
and he's supposed to be an engineer.
So,
and
yeah.
then
I started this as a side business and it became a full-time thing. I lured her in and she started shooting weddings full-time, and here we are. This is what we do full-time. This is all we do.
so when we do photo and video, I usually do photo, and then Gavin does video, and then we have 2-second shooters each to kind of help with the day and stuff.
Yeah.
But we met at a pharmacy.
You guys are very When Harry Met Sally. I just have to tell you, like,
Oh my
those interviews with
goodness.
adorable couples. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, most people I know couldn't work with their significant other. We do it well. I mean,
It
yeah.
takes a lot of patience.
Yes.
You know, like, because then I get really excited about one shot and he's like, no, you got to try it this way. And I'm like, okay, dude, we're going to do it, but let me try mine too.
I don't want to
it's
use
just-
the word synergy because I hate that word, but it's kind of like that.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, yeah.
I see that definitely. So in parting, is there any other advice you'd give to a bride and groom? Because I find that actually, when I go through the process with my brides and grooms tend to be more into the photography than
Really?
other parts. Yes.
Yep.
And when they are like really into it.
Okay.
So what advice would you give a bride and groom going through the process?
I would say, well, whoever your photographer is, you should always get those full resolution files, right?
Digital full resolution
Yes.
files.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are some photographers that still go by the old photography model where they charge, a lower fee, if you will, to shoot your wedding. And that's mainly for their talent. And then from there, those pictures go onto their website, and then you'd have to purchase those pictures through the photographer.
It's kind of a bait and hook.
Yeah, so that's to me is more like an old traditional photographer, like an old model, right? But for us now, everything is digitized, so we want those digital negatives, so that way you're not bound to your photographer at the hip, and then you can go anywhere you want to print your pictures, to enlarge, to make albums.
To put it simply, if they hold the images, it's kind of like they're holding your pictures hostage.
Got it.
When you have the digital files, now you can do whatever you want with them. They'll be the same in 5, 10, 15 years. It won't matter.
That's nice. That's
And then another piece of advice would be to look through full weddings.
Yes.
So, you know, when you book or, you know, talk to a photographer, hey, can I see a wedding that you've shot from, you know, that venue? You know, can I see it from the beginning of the day to the end of the day? So that way you see the photographer's consistency throughout the whole day, and that whatever they showed on their blog or Instagram or wherever isn't just a lucky shot.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
good point. And then what would you say, and this is probably the former lawyer in me, but about timing wise, is there a way to make sure you get your photos in a certain time period?
Oh, well, we go over our contract meticulously with every single one of our clients so they know what our boundaries are. But more importantly, if you got into the contract, you know, from a lawyer standpoint, it's already bad. So what matters is the reputation. So we always make sure that they're delivered within a certain amount of time.
And what would you say is standard, or what should a
For us,
expectation be?
for us, standard is about 1 month.
Okay.
You definitely want them within 3 months. I've heard nightmare stories of brides getting them 1 or 2 years later, which you don't want to be one of those.
Wow.
And that's where you have to do your research. You have to look up Google reviews. You have to look up Wedding Wire. You have to, you know, hopefully they've done one of your friends' weddings or someone you know, so that way they can be vetted.
That's great.
And then, of course, if you have an awesome coordinator that's already vetted them, that helps
That
a
always
lot.
helps.
Yes. Yeah.
And, you know, I always think it's great to work with vendors that you've worked with before. So when a bride contacts me and says, oh yeah, this is my coordinator and this is my DJ and this is my florist, and I've worked with them before, it always gets me really happy and super excited because we know we've worked with them before. We know we can rely on this, you know, DJ or this coordinator to kind of back us up and make sure the day goes smoothly.
Nice.
So that's important too.
I love that. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you for having me.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
for having us.
You guys are adorable. Love
Aw,
it.